to say the results of the April 7th election was Julie Arndt Vandenhoel was re-elected, Therese Abbott was elected, and Dalton Davis was elected. So welcome to everyone that is returning and new to the board. Number 2, we will call to order the May 7th, 2026 Village Board meeting. Roll call shows all trustees are present, all staff is present, and our attorney is also present. For agenda changes, under new business, we will move C above B, and that should be all the changes, correct?
Yes.
Okay. 5, consent agenda. A, April 16th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits as presented. And C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, I would need a motion to accept.
I have a question. Well, how many trash can liners do we buy for $1,400?
A summer's worth.
Is that, okay, so they're just regular trash can liners?
The big ones for the big trash cans we have all over town.
Okay. So that's just a one-time per year purchase, okay. That's a lot of trash can liners.
I just have an update on one of the vouchers. On voucher number 14815 for Delta Dental, the amount listed on the list is $2,076.06. The actual voucher is $2,075.06. So I just want to make that notation when we approve it.
Okay.
I'll
And
make
we
a motion to
need a
approve the
motion
consent
with that
agenda
correction.
with the corrections noted.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. Are there any?
No.
Okay. 7, committee reports. A, library board. Carrie.
Nothing new. Allie will have updates when she gets her director's report.
Okay. Then we will move to 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There is none. 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on committees, and this is to be approved tonight at our board meeting. So as presented, the Public Works Committee will be Jim Moeller, Chair, Therese Abbott, Dalton Davis, Julie Arndt Vandenhoel. Public Safety will be Jim Moeller, Chair, Carrie Lathrop, Dalton Davis, Jane Oak. Public Facilities Committee will be Julie Arndt Vandenhoel, Chair, Therese Abbott, Jane Oak, and Carrie Lathrop. If there are no questions, I would need a motion.
I just have a quick question. So then executive committee, is that?
Executive Committee would be the chair people, so it would be Jim and you and me.
So it's the 3 instead of 4, we're doing 3.
Yes.
And then, okay, that covers it.
Okay.
I'll
Then I
make
would need a
to
motion.
approve the committee appointments as presented.
I'll second. Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Okay, then we will move to C, discussion and possible action on R-08-26, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of 1,740,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2026A.
So, our consultant from Ellers is here. She can present on this. Bidding was today, and
Yeah, happy to. Thank you, Nathan. Hello, everyone. My name is Ariana Schmidt. We are the village's municipal advisor. I know I've been before most of you, but I believe some of you are new. So if there's anything you'd like me to go into further detail on, I'm happy to do so. But this is really the result of the bids that were gone out to this morning for the competitive sale of about $1.7 million of general obligation promissory notes. These notes are being issued to fund a variety of public purposes, including a variety of TID infrastructure projects, the Main Street painting project, bridge project, street lighting, and an park entrance project. So the reason that we went out to market for this is because of a few reasons, one of which is it's a large enough size that it's marketable to the open securities market. The biggest benefit of going out to the market is you get a lower interest rate, because you prepare what's called your offering document or your official statement, which is that long document that was included in the packet before you tonight. So we had 3 bidders, which was a great competitive result. The lowest interest rate was at 3.768%. So as you can see, compared to going to your local bank, as you do often with smaller loans, this is quite a bit of a lower interest rate than what you can often get from a bank. So that's the biggest advantage, obviously, interest savings over the life of the loan. So you probably noticed in the agenda, it was 1.74 million, and the resolution before you is 1.71 million. The reason for that is because the bidders gave what's called a reoffering premium, similar to when you go to buy a car and they give you more money than you ask for, so that way you can pay a little bit more in interest, but you can downsize the amount that you're borrowing. So over the life of the loan, you're actually saving more than you would otherwise. So as a result of that, we were able to downsize the issue by $30,000. Additionally, we were able to apply roughly $59,000 to your debt service fund. What that means is that money has to be used for your first year's interest payments. So next year, when your interest payments come due for the first time, majority of that interest payment will be already paid for with those funds that the underwriter provided you today. So all that to say, in comparison to your preliminary estimates that you saw last month at the pre-sale meeting, there was about $55,000 in savings compared to our estimates. So fared very well in the market today, so congrats on a very successful sale. Next steps from here are obviously consideration of the resolution to formally award and accept this bid. Thereafter, about 3 weeks from now, on May 28th, is when the closing will occur, in which that's when you will be wired the proceeds. Thereafter, you'll be able to spend those down accordingly on the projects. So with that, I do have attached a variety of supplementary information, including the bid tabulation, which goes through the 3 different bidders that did bid on this issue. And then I also have all of the financial tables that we went through at last month's pre-sale meeting, updated with the actual numbers from the underwriters today. So again, happy to go through any of those or answer any questions you may have, but high level, that's a summary of the results that we received this morning. Are there any questions for me or anything I can help answer?
You said that percentage was 3.768?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the true interest cost that takes into account the cost of issuance as well as the reoffering premium offered by the underwriter.
So is the resolution in the packet, or do we just have a resolution number?
It's not, it's a separate resolution because you have to get the sale results first before Quarles and Brady can prepare the resolution. So they provided that resolution this afternoon separately.
As an additional document, it's online right now.
Okay.
We got it at 2:30.
No problem, I just didn't know, like, for a motion, so is it that R-08-26? Okay.
And the only thing I would change in the motion from the language in the agenda is change the amount to be $1.71 million instead of $1.74 million.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve R-08-26, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $1.71 million general obligation promissory notes.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Hi.
Motion carried.
And then before we proceed off the agenda item, is it okay if I note one other item that I wanted to just bring to your attention? So obviously, you know, your 2025 audit was just completed. As a part of preparing for this sale and preparing your official statement, you are required to include all of your audited financials. So upon going through that, it was brought to our attention that your unassigned fund balance for 2025 is actually negative, as I'm sure you saw in your audit. But all that to say, the village has a policy in which you're supposed to maintain about 30 to 35% of your unassigned fund balance in comparison to your operating budget expenditures. So you are out of compliance with that policy right now. So that was disclosed in the offering statement, so all of the investors and underwriters are aware of that. However, there is a requirement that you work to remedy that. And we are working with Nathan and Jane to help make recommendations on how to do so. But a couple of things I just wanted to point out. One, That basically means you have no fund balance to draw on to fund any capital projects going forward. So that may mean you need to borrow more money to fund these larger projects in the future, which is part of why this borrowing was so much larger than it has been in past years. Number two, your TIDs. We do your annual TID cash flows on an annual basis. A couple of your TIDs are underperforming right now. We did go through a TID amendment, I believe it was last year or maybe 2024, in which TID 4 that is overperforming is allowed to share its increment with TID 5, for example, that's underperforming. So some of those things are going to help in which you do not need to pull from your unassigned fund balance any longer, and those TIDs can become self-sustaining over time. That's also why part of the borrowing included funding a variety of TID projects. So all that to say, they're items that we're working through, but something you definitely want to keep on your radar, especially as you prepare for your budget process this year. One recommendation is you can budget a contingency for projects. As you know, costs are going up, not down. Expenses are often going higher than expected. So by budgeting a little bit higher, including those contingencies, if you end up in a surplus situation, you can then apply that surplus to your unassigned fund balance to help rebuild that going forward. So there's a variety of items, again, we can help advise through. Your debt service fund has a very large balance right now, which we're working through with staff to see, can we move any of that from your debt service fund over to the unassigned fund balance? But I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that since that is out of compliance with your policy right now. So something to keep on your radar.
Okay, so I have a question. So are we essentially modifying a current policy or we're creating a new policy?
Nope, it doesn't affect your policy at all. It
Okay.
just says you're not in compliance with
Not
it.
in compliance. And is that something then that will be then added to the yearly audit to make sure we are in compliance on that?
No, the audit does not behold you to the policy. The policy is something you've self-imposed.
Okay.
So it's really just something that you need to keep an eye on. You're not a rated community, meaning we didn't get a rating for this issue. That's a big piece of it. If you have a negative fund balance, if you're out of a self-imposed compliance policy, that's not going to lend itself well. So in this issue, you did have insurance taken out in which the underwriter basically says, we're going to take bond insurance out to help insure this issue. So if you were to default on payments, you have something to back that up. So that basically helps with the fact that you don't have a rating and you're out of compliance with some internal policies. So nobody's going to hold you to it per se. However, it's something that investors look at as you go to market. If you ever were to want to get a rating in the future, you would need to be in compliance with that policy and so on. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we will move to E, discussion and possible action on Hortonville Hortonia maintenance agreement.
This was presented initially by the town of Hortonia. We had some issues with it, and we had our legal counsel kind of updated after the last meeting. We discussed it. I'm trying to pull it up. Sorry, 1 second here. Oh, that's fine. One second here. Is it in the packet?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It was a few meetings ago.
Yeah. Can we, let's table it till the next meeting, it's not pressing.
I'll make a motion to defer the Hortonville Hortonia maintenance agreement to a future meeting.
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sorry about that.
D, discussion and possible action on cemetery columbarium design.
So, the designs were sent over, from Matheson Monuments. this is kind of what they came up with. I don't know what your thoughts are on any of these. There is no price associated at this point. We'd have to go out and go for kind of bids to kind of see. I can ask them what they would think, but it's kind of hard to ask them what it would cost because they're gonna bid on it and, yeah, so.
The only question I have, so the design, are we going with a large parking lot at the cemetery? Are we using that much foot space in the cemetery to do
Which cemetery is this?
Union?
Cemetery,
Union Cemetery.
Right by my
that's
house.
Village owned. I normally
I don't
people.
know if that's something we would do initially. I think that my guess is they're just kind of preliminarily showing it. Yeah.
So usually people go up there for funerals, they just sort of park along, and then it's not like there's tons of people parked up there all the time.
I don't see why we would need to use space to have a parking lot.
You know,
I would probably only do a single line of,
not even that. I mean, even during a funeral, people just pull cars up and then they pull away.
well, that's for,
Yeah.
You walk on the grass now, so what would be the difference,
That's the only,
you know?
when I looked at this, that
Right.
was the only thing I went, wow,
That
that's a
was-
lot of real
that was
estate.
an old concept that was always said to me, that
Yeah.
that was part of their plans prior for years ago. So that's kind of why we mentioned it to them.
Yep.
So yeah, that's something we could remove pretty easily and reduce cost that way.
Yeah, I don't think we need to use the money for that.
Just a lot of real estate, and I get it. They
No, I
send
know.
you these renderings and then, you know.
So you're just looking for a motion to go ahead to get bids?
Well, if you
To
guys like the
accept
design, or
the
if there was
design.
something else that you would want potentially.
The only, well, okay, not an only question, I have another question. Are we ever able to add on to this? Like, I get it that they're of a certain height, but let's say we run out of room, we run out of space, which is a problem in a lot of cemeteries. Is there a way to expand on this?
Yeah, I mean, you could connect on to that other, on the left-hand side, basically, you could just kind of connect to another section.
I'm thinking vertical.
Years ago, when we did the switch over, we basically cut off a lot of available lots because we were looking at this at that time. So there is a lot of space that we do have available, so you would have room for more, not in that current footprint,
I'm talking vertical,
probably not.
okay.
Does it get pretty tall though?
It would get pretty tall, but that's the thing, like how tall and like is it expandable at all?
I mean, I
And like
guess you-
adding two rows
You
to
could
top.
do it, I mean, I've seen them where they're really tall, I mean, that was something they did more years ago.
With mausoleums,
Yeah.
yeah.
Get 3 more in, close off the circle.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like a way to be able to.
So there's
Yeah.
other things you could do. You could do like a sidewalk to the next section, and then in that sidewalk area, I've seen it where they've had monuments kind of on the side of the sidewalk. So there's other things. There's tons of things you can do with it.
I know it's
Yeah,
cemeteries run out of space. That's
Yeah.
essentially why this is such a popular.
I mean, this doesn't seem like a real efficient use of the space there. I'm just saying, I was just at a funeral last weekend before, whatever, and they had an interior, so they had a space with maybe 4 rows of chairs, and then the walls were lined, and it's a square, basically just a basic square building. The walls were lined from the inside, and they went really high, and then when they ran out of space on the inside, they just went to the outside of the building. And then they just started packing, so they just doubled up on the outside of the building. Which was, it's just a little morbid, but I mean, it's an efficient use of space. This doesn't look efficient at all. I mean, this looks like you're in a, round spaces to begin with don't fit into, they don't fit in an efficient use of the space to begin with.
I think that's what the board though.
Chose.
When we were
Yeah.
talking about this, we chose sort of that round. It just seemed more a softer feel. I just think about it would be nice if we could figure out a way that in the future whether it be 50, 100 years, whatever, is expandable in some way, and it doesn't have to use more real estate.
Well,
How
what
much
I-
area is ledge rock? Is there quite a bit there?
Yeah,
That's
there's-
why we're putting those there to begin with, because
Yeah.
there's ledge rock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
There
not
is some-
a usable
Yeah,
space for
Yeah, yeah.
actual burials.
so, but
So-
the other thing that I noticed was that when I went into the one that was square was that, it lent itself to a burial ceremony, right? Whereas this is if you fill in the center and you have everybody come out here, then, there isn't I mean, I guess you could set up a podium and and everybody kind of fill in, but it doesn't lend itself to that type of a use. Because, I mean, even if you don't have this and you go to a burial plot, then it's still, everybody kind of jams in around there, but yeah, this sort of, I don't know, it's not a super efficient use of the space.
So you're saying square would be better?
From my recent experience, I would say, yeah. I mean, it lends itself better to a burial ceremony, lends itself better to a structure where you can have that people in there for the final ceremony after the funeral itself. And it ends up being a more efficient, so you can get more into that same amount of space, more units into that same space.
Did you ever see the one up in the Catholic cemetery? It's just,
It's like a cylinder.
it's just round. I
Yeah.
mean, and then there's just drawers all the way up.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's not, I don't know. I like this design much better than that.
I think it's all part of the pricing structure for when you
Yeah.
have 162 niches, which is what they call them. So then you basically take the cost of what this project would be and divide that out, and
Okay.
you know where the cost is gonna be. It's it's usually, it's a little more expensive than burying, in a traditional grave
Yeah.
to own. But I think a lot of people are kind of looking for that and not. I've seen one similar to what you're talking about in Appleton. There's one in one of the cemeteries there, and I just don't see them used as much lately for the new infrastructure in cemeteries. This is kind of what I've seen a lot more expansion in. Not saying we couldn't do the other one if you wanted to do kind of like an enclosed mausoleum. I think it's just kind of hard also to make something like this and then say if we're going to add more niches to this in the future, I think is going to be problematic. Because if I came in now and I bought one of these, I'm expecting it to look like this. And I'm paying for the infrastructure underneath, and then you add in some new stuff right on top of it, and they're paying the same price, and it's just, I think you're gonna have some complaints at that point for people, like, this is not what I was expecting to have here. So I think if you wanna do something like this, I think you leave it as this, and don't try to, if you wanna extend off of it, I think is a great idea, but I think you might get some complaints otherwise.
And you get there's 2 people per drawer. So, I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
I think we call it niche.
Yeah.
Well, aren't these also like sittable walls?
Sittable, yeah.
Yeah, so like, it really kind of gets you that.
Oh, okay.
You know, if you come in for a service, then you've got a place to sit or just,
I mean, I've seen smaller services. I haven't really
Right.
been a part of bigger services that are in
this
these
is more
types of
room than you
things.
get at a graveside service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way more, for more people to
Yeah.
be on like solid ground versus their feet sticking into the mud.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
this is more room for that, I think.
I don't have a strong feeling. I just mentioned that you don't see a lot of round buildings, and there's a reason for that. It's not an efficient use of space. You can put more into a non-round structure.
Right, but what do you feel like when, like, if you're someone visiting or someone that wants to, maybe someone would prefer this over just being in a square box? That just, I don't know.
I don't have a strong feeling. I just thought I'd bring it up, because Julie mentioned expandability, and this is.
if
Just
you're
'cause I
looking
know,
for more,
yeah,
more
like in
efficiency.
cemeteries, they run out of space. I look at the Catholic cemetery, that's running out of space, right? And my parents, when they bought the plot, they certainly didn't bank on having an apartment building behind them. We had, you know what I mean? So you can only, you know,
Yeah.
can only control so much. But I even look at this too and say, you did this type of design, you could even create like more outer rings. Like removing the wall, creating another outer ring. So it could expand more like outwardly in a circular, instead of doing another circle and another circle, like, you know what I mean? You could actually almost create more rings. That's how I see this being expandable, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It'll be
How
long, I'll be
many-
long gone.
How many are in there right now?
I
Do
think
you
it's
know how many?
162. I was trying to pull up the email. I think it's 162 is what.
162? That'll be past our lifetime, pretty much. I don't think we'll have to worry about it. I think that's gonna be pretty good, actually.
So really what you're trying to do right now, Nathan, is you're just trying to, like, showing us this and saying, okay, now we're gonna go out for bids, but if I remember right, there's not a lot of places that do this. Wasn't it just Matthews and Monuments that was working with you on it?
Well, so a lot of places do the design, like do columbariums. The issue was we had to have someone to design it, but the issue is most of the time they design it for themselves.
Yeah.
And so the weird thing is we have to go for bids to make sure we're in compliance with state statutes. So we had them design it, but we told them also, like, you need to charge us for that, which is normally something they don't charge for because they charge it with the full construction,
Yeah.
obviously, cost and combine it in. So there might be others that bid on it. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
I know at one point we were looking at 2018, 2019 timeline. We were looking at importing one from. There's one that sells and comes across the border from Canada typically, and the prices were pretty fair. It's just, I think the problem was they didn't do they don't do a lot of the
Infrastructure stuff, yeah.
And I think where it's something that we'll have for years and years, we need to look at quality,
Well, and
not
you,
just,
it's nice to have
the
someone
lowest bid.
somewhat local,
Mhm.
where when things break,
right,
you have someone to call
yeah.
and replace. So that's kind of the other concern. With
I think it
sometimes.
all has to be looked at when we go out for a bid. So you're just looking for a motion to go ahead with this design
Yeah, I mean, if you
and
guys
get
like this,
bids?
yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it'll take for us to kind of go out for a bid process, but yeah.
I think sooner than later,
Good.
because there are a lot of people asking about it,
No, I know.
so. We would just need a motion for them to go out for bids on this design
Without the parking lot,
without the parking lot,
Okay.
yes.
sidewalk good to it, right?
I
From the
don't know
road.
I
that
don't
we
even
need
know.
a sidewalk to
I don't
it.
know if it's necessary.
Oh.
Well,
Depends
No.
on how it's located though, if they're driving and they're, you know.
if it needs to be
Yeah.
accessible, I guess that's
Yeah.
the question.
I would probably put the sidewalk in. I think it's
At least
probably
to-
not too far from. I mean, you're talking probably maybe 100 feet of sidewalk, and it makes it accessible. It also, you know, it's muddy and
Mhm.
you're not walking through.
Right.
I mean, you kind of got to look at it as somewhat of a premium for this, because the cost is probably going to be pretty somewhat higher than
Okay.
you're used to for purchasing of the plot.
So if I make a motion to proceed with bidding for the cemetery columbarium design, excluding a parking lot but keeping a sidewalk.
Yeah, we can do that sidewalk as an optional bid, so they can have it, so we can pull it out if we don't want it.
Okay.
Okay.
Ariana will make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. E, discussion and possible action on R-09-2026, resolution to lobby the state to alter their transportation funding model.
This was sent by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities and asked all the municipalities to basically pass this resolution. It doesn't give any details of what to change. It was just kind of talking about the issues that municipalities have, and trying to get the state to do something to help with the funding.
Does this go to the legislature, like the Joint Finance Committee?
So what's gonna happen is we'll send it to the league. The league uses this to talk to those people, especially if our member is on that finance committee, they'll use that to kind of try to talk to them about why this, this is beneficial for not just the state, but also your constituents, so.
All right. Have we talked to like Dave Murphy or talked to like our state senator on either one of the, like on this, or talked to either one of them to let them know we're trying to push this through?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, we can call him, as a constituent. All
Any
right.
other questions?
I'll make a motion for R-9-26, the resolution to lobby the state to alter their transportation funding model.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action on O-03-26, ordinance amendment for the fire department.
Yeah, so, this, ordinance was passed early in this year, on February 5th for the outdoor burning. I was in the process of writing up a article for the Village Voice and noticed that it kind of seems like it made it so that anytime you have any type of fire or like personal backyard campfire, you would have to give 24-hour notice to the chief. That wasn't the intention according to the chief, and so he asked if we could alter that as well, because it's only really for the bonfires they want that for. So that was kind of the change in here, was just altering that to make it so that it's the 24-hour notice is only for ceremonial bonfires, not campfires, and then small campfires are fine as long as they're within this pit or slash ring contained.
I got a few
somewhat.
questions.
Yep.
So it says here, with no less than 24 hours written notice to the fire department on a form supplied by the fire chief. So somebody can just simply submit the form. Does somebody have to accept the form? So if somebody goes to print this from the website and they fill out the form and they say, well, I gave you written notice, and there's nobody there to accept that form, slid it under the door. I guess I don't know how, I want to say maybe approval or acceptance and approval of the form, not just, because if it's a Saturday afternoon and somebody wants to burn Sunday and they go to print the form from the website, they're just filling it out, but what's guaranteeing that somebody said, okay? I don't know. Maybe am I the only one that reads it that way?
No, I think, like I said, when this initially was passed, this was done through the fire department and
Yeah.
our attorneys. So I wasn't really involved with it. I couldn't tell you if that's.
I just read it it says the form supplied by the chief, so do they need to contact the fire chief to get the form?
They can print it off the website.
Yeah.
Okay, so then who's gonna,
I think their thought was probably that they would get it either in an email or something, and he would then come and check it.
Yeah, it sounds like it has to be inspected.
Right.
Whatever you're burning.
But
before you burn.
But it
So-
doesn't really explicitly say that though.
is it
You know
on
what
the
I mean?
form that they need to email it back?
There's a form you can print off.
But on the form, does it say you need to email it or drop it?
I don't know. I can try and pull it up. I have a few other questions as well, but
I guess I know there's a lot of, I know you have other questions with it. I guess the only thing I would say is I think what we should do then, if that's the case, is I think you should pass this to fix the issue that this caused, and then do this at maybe a cow or something to talk through what, or a future board meeting to talk through kind of all of the change of thoughts that you guys have, because right now, people are probably violating this every night if they
Yeah.
are having a fire, and I don't think that's the goal here.
No, understandable, but, and I do, I mean, I have this is actually what I printed from Unicode earlier
Right.
this week, so I have questions, cause what's out there is outdated.
Right.
But things were omitted without, I didn't realize it back in February. But this one specific though, I think if I am being told in the Village Voice about this, and I go online and I print off the form, but I read this, I just have to provide written notice, but what's saying that somebody actually interacted and they know about this written notice from the fire department? Is there just, I mean, maybe this is more of a legal question. And maybe I'm not trying to be wackadoodle on this. I really am trying to, like, if I'm reading this on a Saturday morning and I want to burn on a Sunday, it says here I can provide written notice, but what, is there an action that accepts that written notice, that now someone on the fire department does know I'm gonna do this fire?
Correct, yeah, so it'd be submitted to the department for their thing, and it's important to look at subsection D of that, which allows the fire chief or his designated official to oppose restrictions or prohibit burning. That's kind of the purpose of the ordinance too, so if you submit, you know, a form, the fire chief it could be an automatic response, no burning's allowed, or anything like that. So it wouldn't just allow unregulated burning. It's a notice requirement for a couple of the things that you look for these, you know, the controlled burning, or other things. Basically, the department notice that that's going to occur. So the department's on notice, so in case someone calls 911 saying there's this field's on fire, the purpose of the ordinance is more towards now that the department is aware that there's controlled burning, they can have that instead of sending out trucks that all of a sudden someone calls in and says this field's on fire. They say, nope, we have this written communication, they're burning this day.
So I'm a resident on a Saturday morning and I wanna burn on Sunday, and I read this, what am I doing? I'm filling this form out, who am I giving it to? I'm giving it to someone on the fire department.
Correct, wherever the form designates you to go.
I wish I could pull it up right now and I can't, I have a.
Because right now, you call the chief and tell him you're doing a controlled burn.
What does the
right
form
now.
say?
But now they want an actual form that you're filling out.
I think the form says to either submit by mail or email or, but
This is made mostly for a large burn. It's
Well-
not like it's just, you're burning some leaves in your backyard. I do believe, isn't it? It's more
Well,
like a
it is.
controlled burn that someone is doing, so you would know ahead of time you're going to do it
Ceremony of
even
bonfires?
further than 24 hours.
Or brush piles with no less than 24 hours, so a brush pile. I mean,
But it would have to
controlled
be a
burning of
pretty
dry
large one.
leaves or other non-offensive dry yard debris, that requires a notice. So like if you're burning a pile of leaves, that requires a notice. That's how I read this. So when you're saying it's like the bigger fires, not really. I mean, it's somebody that has their leaves in the fall. They raked up their leaves in their yard. They have to get a notice.
So if you give notice and you don't hear back, and you've got proof of your notice, is that enough?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question.
that's why I just think that this would probably be better to kind of go through at a future date and have some of the questions. I mean, I think we know what the chief was kind of wanting in here, and we could kind of tailor a future ordinance amending that to kind of get more details put on either the form or.
Could we make any reference where it says supplied by the fire chief, form supplied by and accepted by the fire chief? Can we just add that wording? So that it's at least, it's implied to a resident that they need to get some kind of something back from the fire chief. Or somebody on the fire department to say, hey, yeah, we know about this burn now. I don't know.
The only issue you would potentially have is if the fire chief starts approving fires and something were to get out of hand, for a liability
Okay.
perspective, the first thing that
Okay.
a personal injury attorney would look for is, well, the Hortonville fire chief said this fire was okay.
So what's the
Um,
best way to word that? That
I
a
think
resident knows.
so I pulled up the form and I think the basis of it, so Attorney Lahaki, I think, was the main attorney on it, but the basic premise of the form too is it's also citation based. So we don't want someone burning without at least notifying the department, so that if we can go back and say, you didn't notify us that you were burning leaves today, and let's say a tree burns down or it gets out of hand, then the fire department could then cite that person for illegal burning, is kind of the purpose of
Okay.
it.
And it says on the form, I can't pull it up, I'm sorry, I'm really struggling with this. Is there something then on the form that says, like, here's the phone number of the chief, or there's the address, or the email, or something?
I've got it up, no,
No, I was,
there's no contact information.
the chief, I think, is out of town right now. I did email him and asked him if he wanted to add an email to that, for this middle, cause there's, not much there.
It's just so easy for somebody on
even
a
a phone number.
Saturday morning.
Right.
Mhm.
I
Fill out
would
the
say,
form.
if you
It's
don't,
easy.
just like we do now,
Yeah.
you would have a phone number.
But that's not on the
If
form.
it's something you're burning within 24 hours, if you know a week ahead of time you're gonna burn, if it's, not windy, whatever, and you fill this out, they would have time to get back to you, but I would say if it's Saturday morning, you could call a number, fill out the form, call the number, say, do you wanna come check this out, or should I just go ahead?
So do we put
Because
that,
that's what we do now with a controlled burn,
yeah, so that's the problem though, the number's not on the form, and it doesn't, you know
which
what I
we
mean?
could add to it. We could say,
So I have a question, when you said that we're not really looking to get approval, because we really don't wanna do that. On the very top, it says, submission of this form does not constitute approval unless expressly indicated by the department.
Correct, yeah, so when you talk about amending the ordinance, to have it where all burns have to be reviewed and approved and inspected by the chief, that's where you can get into that
Right,
issue, where you start going a little bit too far. This
Right.
is just basically a notification saying, we're
Okay.
gonna burn.
I just was reading it because it talked about approval by the department, so I just didn't know if that needed to be taken off the form.
No, yeah, I think the submission of the form doesn't constitute approval is what we want.
Right, okay.
I just know that I get phone calls on a Saturday morning. Julie, where's that form? I've helped somebody,
Yep.
like, I'm gonna help somebody, try and find this form, right? Now what do I do with it?
are you gonna note all that in the Village Voice?
I'm not writing something for the Village Voice unless this gets solved
Right.
tonight.
If we would approve this, then you
Yeah,
put this in
well,
the Village Voice.
If you approve this and you weren't planning on amending it further, I would put it in the Village Voice. If you're planning on amending it further, I'm not probably gonna go in and tell them this is it, and then 2 months later, we change it, and now it's different,
No,
right?
it's
So
different.
that's kind of the issue here, so if there's plans to change it further than just altering a few words in here, then I think we would probably not put it in the Village Voice, but if we're gonna just do a few words and be fine with it, then I would. So, I just don't wanna tell them that this is the rules, and then the rules change within a month, and now there's more details, and they're like, well, you just told us you passed this,
Well, for just discussion purposes, without a cow, all I really wanted added back into this is we used to have it that your fire had been located at least 30 feet away from a neighboring structure. That was removed from the ordinance, and that was the wording that I'm asking to be put back in the ordinance. It removed it in February, and I didn't notice that we removed it, and then I pulled up Municode and saw the old ordinance, and went, oh, well, it's still there, but then I looked at this ordinance, and went, no, it's not. That's all I'm looking for, the addition, is we used to have wording that said located, that can't be located, or that your fire has to be located at least 30 feet from neighboring structures. That's all I'm asking for. Because there's a lot of very smaller, non-conforming yards in the community. Smaller yards.
All I would say is the 30 foot is very far compared to other communities. Even in downtown Appleton, you're talking 10 feet is from the neighboring structure, 15 feet I think is to pier.
I didn't research it. All I know
Right.
is that that's what used to be there,
Right.
and it was removed. I should have caught it in February, and shame on me. I didn't do my homework. I didn't catch it. So that's all I'm looking for, is there's something. So like, let's say the police department gets called out because somebody's got a fire that looks like it's bigger than it should be, whatever. It's kind of close to a building, whatever. Police department comes out, well, there's no regulation in this for distance, right?
The state has a 10-foot regulation.
Okay, so what if we went with a state statute or whatever, or reference it. I guess that's all, I don't think it's worth a cow for me to ask for that.
No.
That's all I'm asking for.
Right.
But the question came to me when I was thinking is, I run it through my head. If I'm a resident and I'm looking at this, what are my steps? My steps are filling out this form. What am I doing with the form, and how do I know it's been accepted? Or how do I know that someone's received it?
Right, and that's, I won't say it's not normally an ordinance, but, that's definitely something that could be changed on the form in order to make it more usable, right? So, I think those can be done without necessarily board approval, yeah. But anything with the ordinance, if you wanted some type of setback from a neighboring structure, I think if you wanted, the only discussion with that, I think you should really specify what a structure is.
Because like a wooden fence, is that a structure? A house, is that a structure?
So according to our ordinance, it's not for zoning purposes, but, so like in the city of Appleton's fire permit, it's 10 feet from any neighboring structure or fence, and they just call it out. That's what I would do, is, or any combustible material. Yeah.
I'm not trying to draw this out. I'm just trying to prevent us from
Right.
getting a cow
I'm
from
ju- I'm
wanting
just-
to add 30
yeah.
feet
I'm just
or
giving
10 feet.
giving information.
Because it gives a specific amount of space, which then the police have a clear definition of the space, the fire department has a clear definition of the space. To add that and to update the form to that,
If that's
it,
the
we
extent
can
of
do
it,
that, so can you hit the village voice so people are aware of this?
if that's the extent of it, yeah, I don't have an issue adding a percent to that. I just didn't know how much we wanted to go into it, because I've seen example ones and.
Yeah, I think it's important it gets out to the public soon, very soon.
I say we pass it with the changes, and then you get a hold of Jack and work on his form,
So,
which we wouldn't need to
change,
approve in
okay,
here.
changes are
Follow the state statutes for
10 feet.
Distance, but then you talked about combustible, like fence.
fence, I can use the language from Appleton's
Appleton's.
at that point. I don't have an issue adding that in, and then the other changes, do you want anything changed on the other wording? Other than the form, obviously,
Well,
but,
without getting into a legal kerfuffle
Right.
with it, yes. So I don't know if it's easier then to put it on the form that there's a way that a resident could contact
right,
the fire department.
that we can do then, pretty easily, so, was there anything else?
I'm fine with that. That's really all I was looking for.
So we need a motion.
I will make a motion, with the changes noted that the 10 feet and following Appleton's burning ordinance, guidelines, and also, making sure that there's fire department contact information on the form.
Second.
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. G, discussion and possible action on Grandview Road urbanization bids.
So the bids came in for this urbanization. For any of those that don't know, this was a project that was negotiated with the TID and the subdivision construction at that time. The village had some stormwater issues, or we were taking stormwater onto that property. This would better clear up that stormwater issue and finalize that, where it all goes into our stormwater pond that's over there. And then it also will put in curb and gutter on the south side of that street. The north side already has it. But the biggest thing is extending a sidewalk to that subdivision. So right now the sidewalk kind of ends at the corner of Nash and Grandview Road, and that'll be extended then to basically Horton Terrace into our property in Horton Terrace, where that starts, and it'll stop at our property's edge. Basically, then the residents of that subdivision will be able to walk from there if they wanted to go all the way to the school. The lowest bidder was Summers Construction. I believe they are the construction company that got the bid through McHugh as well, so that's, makes sense why they are the lowest. I don't know if there's any other questions.
How many people bid on this?
I think,
3, I think.
yeah, I think it was 3.
Kimball, MCC, and Summers.
Yeah, I'd have to look. It was Vinton, Summers, and Highway Landscapers. What was the bid results there?
Are there any questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Summers, was it Summers Construction? For the Grandview Road urbanization in the amount not to exceed $111,988.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. H, discussion and possible action on lateral replacement on honeysuckle bids.
So this is a project that came up when we were talking about budgets, and I think we talked about it in Public Works Committee before too, but it's basically going through and replacing laterals that we've had consistent issues in with the copper that was in those laterals and not in that neighborhood on Honeysuckle. We advertised it in the New London paper, and we got one bidder only on it, and that was Immels. I think it's more of a unique project, and Immels has done this work for us. They replaced the ones that we had. I think we've had 4 or 5 leaks in that neighborhood over the years since they've been installed, so they're pretty familiar with it, and I think a lot of the other contractors are looking for bigger projects at this time of year, so. It's a similar price to what they would charge, probably been less than when we have them come out for emergency leaks, so.
Are there any questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion to accept the bid.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid for the lateral replacement on Honeysuckle to Robert J. Immel Excavating in the amount not to exceed $37,440.
Second.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. I, discussion and possible action on ferric room repair quotes.
So, over time, with the chemicals that are used there, we've gotten some kind of significant cracking going on the floors where the chemicals are stored. We sent basically this mnemonic series epoxy to 3 different contractors, and got 3 different bids back for fixing those cracks. Protective coating specialists were the lowest by quite a bit, so we did recontact them and just to make sure that they were bidding on the same thing and had everything in place that they needed to for this bid, and they double checked their numbers and said, yeah, I think we're fine. I think your other 2 bidders really overestimated what it would cost to do this, so.
This is the 4830.
Significant.
Yes.
Significant.
I just wanted to make sure they didn't mean 14,000.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah.
difference.
Before they change your mind, I'll make a motion to approve
Yeah.
the bid to protective coating specialists for the ferric room repair quote, ferric room repairs, not to exceed the amount of $4,830.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. J, discussion and possible action on setting up a cow for fire fees.
So, I was thinking that before the next meeting at 5, if that's available for people.
Yeah, we talked about that, but then he mentioned that there was potentially this cow before that one, so then nothing that I have it for K here, I guess, is super urgent, so if we wanted to push to into June, that's fine. I don't have anything that's
I
pressing.
kicked him down the road, sorry.
Yeah, I said it in nicer terms, but that's, you see how J and K landed there, so.
Is everyone okay with that?
I would prefer June, yeah.
For public safety.
Oh, no.
We're
Oh,
talking,
you're- oh, that
we're
was a cow.
talking the cow for fire fees,
Yeah, okay.
so that's okay for the cow? 5 o'clock before the next meeting?
If
Everyone?
the board's good with it.
Do you need a whole hour, or is 5:30, or?
I kind of want to, because I think there's a lot of playing around, kind of, I think the problem before we were talking about it, it was just kind of hard to kind of grasp how the numbers worked and how that all panned
Okay.
out, so it's easier to kind of play with it, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, so.
Okay. That works for me.
So that's good with everyone?
Not really, but
All right.
I'll have to dial in if I can.
So the May 21st meeting.
If I get in an accident, you know where.
Okay, then we'll go to K, discussion and possible action on setting up a public safety meeting.
So June 4th at 5? See how that works? If that works for the group.
When are you talking?
June 4th, so that would be our first board meeting in June, and I was just planning on a 5 o'clock.
So you need an hour for that? You're figuring?
Yeah.
So 1 hour?
There'll be a presentation, and then there's a couple things that I want to discuss, that pickup loop that was discussed at safety for us to kind of take a look at, and then just kind of open up for questions. So I think an hour would be appropriate.
So the June 4th.
It's okay
Yeah.
with me.
At 5?
Yeah.
Everyone's okay with that? That's on the committee?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, then we will move to 10, reports of village officials. A, clerk treasurer, Jane.
Lauren is back in the office, deputy clerk treasurer. And board review went good, there were no objections. And my report's in the packet.
Any questions for Jane? Okay, we'll go to B, director of public works, Aaron.
My report's in the packet. We did have our annual Arbor Day, Earth Day celebration with third graders from the school. We also had help from the SERV group. They showed up and did some things with the kids about recycling and stuff like that. So I think the kids had a good time. We had a nice day for it, so it worked out pretty good.
I have a question. Are we supposed to still do a public works committee meeting sometime?
Yeah, I was waiting for the new members to get in,
Okay.
so then I'll send out an email and try to find a date that we can
Alright.
get that
I
scheduled.
just making sure I didn't miss something.
Do we get anything back on the water study?
Yep,
Water
so
flow study?
I got preliminary draft memo on it, and once they finalize it, then I'll bring it to the board and show the results.
All right, then we will move to C, police chief, Brian.
Reports in the packets. Only thing I wanted to update on was a couple board meetings ago, we approved the parking restrictions on Old Street for June 1st. It actually would be June 8th because we don't end school until June 5th. We did talk with the county, who said they weren't planning on starting that until after that anyway. So just so you all know, we approved it for June 1st, but it'll actually be June 8th. This weekend, we are going to start doing door-to-door, making contact with those residents to let them know that that's coming. There's only, I think, 6 houses that are impacted by that, but wanted to make face-to-face contact to explain what that's going to look like.
I have a question.
Of course.
So, there's been some residents that leave their trash cans out like all week long. So is that a police thing or is that a village thing? Like if you're riding your bike or you're walking or you notice that this is out, what do you do?
Yeah, I would say if it's hindering the walkways or the roadways, it would be an us thing. I would have to look at what the ordinance specifically states on that. I know that we've had one particular resident that we've had to talk with, and I think our officers have the tendency to just go out there and do it themselves sometimes,
And
just
move
to
it
get
up to
them.
the house?
Yeah, just to get them out of the way. But I've asked that they document that, and yeah, I think if it's hindering our walkways and our traffic ways, it becomes our issue. But I don't know the specific ordinance. I'd have to look into that and get back to you.
All right, thank you.
And I think I would prefer that the officer didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
me
no, I agree. I
agree.
agree. I think sometimes it's just finding a resolution quicker than trying to track people down and have the conversation. But from a documentation purpose, if it continues to happen, like, I think there needs to be a further conversation there or penalty.
So is it there is a penalty is what I'm,
I don't know what, I mean, I would know if they're in the roadways or you're allowing them to, you know what I mean, if they're hindering traffic ways, but I don't know if just leaving that out in your yard, it's a great question.
cause
It's
it's
obstruction on the sidewalk.
it's obstruction and it's
Yeah.
obstruction of view.
Right, that's what I'm saying, if it's
There
obstructing
is,
sidewalks or it's obstructing roadways, now if it's just sitting out, you know, on the curb, between the curb line and the sidewalk or on your property, I don't know that there's an ordinance for that, but if it's hindering walkways or traffic ways, then yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move to D, Library Director, Ally.
We have our book sale tomorrow and Saturday. I'd say we still have 15 or so tote bins to still unpack. It starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 9 to 6 tomorrow, 9 to 3 Saturday, and the bag sale is noon to 3 on Saturday. Everything must go because we don't want to pack it up and haul it ourselves. So, really exciting. Serve will also be having a plant sale at the same time here. And that is, they have over 200 seedlings of native plants that they'll be selling, along with mosquito buckets to attract the mosquitoes and make sure they don't attract to you. I'm wrapping up my Leadership Development Institute. It's been 8 months, so I still have a month left. That's been pretty great. Our summer library brochures will be distributed to all of the school kids next week, I believe. And we have 58 programs over 9 weeks this summer, so we are over a program a day on average. So it's going to be a very, very, very busy summer, and we're looking forward to it.
Any questions for Ally? Okay, we will go to E, Attorney.
No real updates. I can say I just looked up the cart collection schedule, so I can answer that question very quickly. So they have to be placed, they can't be placed for collection prior to 4 p.m. on the day prior to collection. They have to be removed by midnight. So a cart left on the curb beyond midnight would be a violation of the code, which we could potentially look at citing someone. It does also say that the cart shall stay within the premise and be maintained in such a manner as to prevent the creation of nuisance to public health. So if they are leaving their cart just tipped over in the middle of the yard, that could be something that we could look at too through our citation procedures.
Thank
Work
you.
with the chief on that.
Perfect.
That was quick. Thank you.
All right. We will move to F, Administrator Nathan.
Report is in the packet. Other than that, busy week with trying to finalize all of our stuff before the bond went out. And then on last weekend, we did have that shredding and electronics recycling event that was put on with ourselves and Serve, Wolf River Bank, and the school district kind of all worked together. And we had almost 600 cars, shredded about 7,180 pounds of paper. Electronics recycled amount was about 27,167 pounds, and then CERB was able to collect about 1,200 donations.
Wow.
So it was a very good event. If you were there, you saw it was backed up by the elementary school with the line in the morning, and it was constant until probably the last 10 minutes. So, yeah.
And just to add for the newer board members, we've talked about SERV about 3 times now, and it's Citizens Environmental Restoration Volunteers, I think is what it stands for. And it's a group that started about a year ago, and they just volunteer to do things around town.
And maybe Nathan, since we're on a garbage theme tonight, and recycling, if somebody's garbage can from Harder's is damaged, where do they call?
Harder's.
They call Harder's. The garbage can is for Harder's. If it's the recycle can,
It would be Orion.
okay. But it's nothing that the village handles. It's, you contact that.
There's, sometimes we'll go and try to help because
Well, if the cover's like completely cracked in half.
if it's broken, yes, they have to go directly to Harder's. But if it's something smaller, part of the issue is you have to pay for a new one. So Harder's, unless it's from normal wear and tear, which, yeah, then it would be covered. But if it's not from normal wear and tear, they're going to charge you for it.
Okay.
The county will charge. We have recycling ourselves, so if you do want a replacement can there, you can call us. But we charge you for it, damage-wise.
No, our Harder's covers cracked in half. Like it's 2 separate pieces.
So if it's recycling and it's damaged, and you're trying to not pay for a new one, you'd probably have to call Orion.
Okay.
If you're just wanting something new, you can call us, and we have a bunch of them all saved up in our storage unit. So.
But I'll call Harder's and see if it's something that they'll replace. If not, we'll rig it up ourselves.
Yeah. They replaced mine.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
I just want to say, I love the reports that all of the staff is doing. I think they're very informative, and I really like what you are giving to us, plus the little extra addition that you're adding. I think it's just really good because you're informing the board exactly what's going on. And I think we all appreciate that so much. So keep up the good work.
And we are back to full staff in the admin office now, so we're happy with that.
Yeah,
So.
it's wonderful. So, okay, we'll go to G, building permit report is in the packet. H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Nothing? We'll move to 11, communication and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District news, and that will be Dalton, so you haven't attended a meeting yet?
No.
Okay. Is there anything, Aaron?
No, and I think we're working on trying to set up the next date. We had a problem with the date that we set up at the last meeting. We were double booked in here, so Sean's working with the members to try to get a new date set.
Okay. B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District news, Jim?
There's no,
They have their doings coming up.
what's that?
They have their, summer kickoff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have their kickoff coming up. I also, reached out to EMS today because I still haven't received a budget from them, a budget, report from the last quarterly meeting, but I haven't heard back yet.
Okay. And then C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News, it is in the packet. And D, Hortonville Civic Association, Jane?
I have nothing new, but along the civic lines, I think Therese has some updates on the gazebo that we might all wanna hear about.
Okay.
So the gazebo was taken on as a project by the Hortonville Historic and Preservation Society. And I obtained some very wonderful cedar shakes for the roof for a super low price, and they're very high quality. I have 3 railings down and rebuilt, which I think they'll be put up by next week. And we kind of troubleshot the base of it, which was rotten, probably like this far up. The building's quite light, so you can just take a pry bar, you know, a long one, and just pry it up and then stick the new beam under there. I moved the shade flowers to the shady side and the sunny flowers to the sunny side because they all needed love. They were very heaved out of the ground and very ragged looking. And Erin has some awesome sort of pine needle stuff that you shredded up at the dump site. So I think I'm going to use that for mulch because it needs new mulch. And so we'll just continue.
Thank you.
Okay. And then we'll go to E, senior activities. Jane? No. Oh, Trees,
Oh, I think we have a meeting coming up.
next week
Yeah,
at noon,
yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And then we'll go to 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. Is there any? Okay, then 13, I would need a motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion. All in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Opposed? We are now adjourned at 7:11.